Hey, welcome back. So we're going to do just a little continuation on the seven seal scroll video that reveals how final judgment works. In that video, we brought out the four horsemen, and at the end of the video, we said, hey, we made it to the seventh seal, and the seventh seal, angelic army has been summoned. So what do I mean by the angelic army summoned? So once I describe what this is, and it's easy to understand, like people are going to say, I don't want to believe we're in a mathematical construct, and I don't want to believe that this is how it works. But it doesn't matter what you want to believe, because once I show you the truth, once I've created technology that verifies the truth, you're going to want to do these things as soon as possible because consequences are going up. When you know what you're supposed to do, but you choose not to do it anyway, that's not the way you're going to want to go here. Now, I'm going to reference a biblical passage. This is Matthew 25:31 through 46. When Jesus returns, the nations are going to be judged, and he's going to separate the sheep from the goats. Now, I know a lot of people right now, and as I'm sharing this information, a lot of people are under the impression that they're sheep. The way we're going to know if you're a sheep or you're a goat is I've created a technology that organizes the unconscious patterns within God's creation. So, for example, if you have your birth time, these are my rhythms, they're predetermined. I can know my rhythms from the day I'm born until as long as I live. I know when my sympathetics are in control, my parasympathetics are in control. I know when it's the best time to eat, to sleep. I know when I'm going to be agitated. This is huge. This is a huge advantage. In addition to giving people access, so as long as you have accurate birth time, this technology is free. And then what it's going to do is it's going to allow you to see during what days and what times your body hurts. If your body hurts, it means my four horsemen are working you over. You see, these four horsemen, here they are. There's the four shapes that surround these clocks. This is the space clock. This is the time clock. And even though there's 32 shapes that surround these clocks, the truth is these 32 shapes are just repeating between those four I showed you. So these are the four horsemen of the apocalypse. And if you're not balanced, every single time something happens to you, like you get sick, you stub your toe, you get in a car accident, that's my horsemen, that's my army. And no one's making excuses anymore. We're in a mathematical construct. God the Father gave you consciousness, and if you use it in ways that are non-productive, like a goat, where you think your selfish intentions are more important than my Father's intentions, that's why this fish is pointing down, it's fighting my Father. If you do that every time you fight my Father, well, the four horsemen are going to let you know why you're going to want to change. So if you don't have as much energy one day, or you have a headache, or your hip hurts, this shows how the pattern, the unconscious pattern of God's creation, is connected to every individual's body. That's how that works. If you want to be saved, this is what's going to happen. You're going to start feeling better and better, and we can actually reverse and slow aging down. If you decide to follow my Father, we can heal and restore your body and get you prepared so that when you die, you've made this transformation. You're a positive person that cares about your body, that cares about your family, that cares about your community, that cares about your nation, and you're actively participating to help our resources and our environment stabilize and eventually optimize. If you do anything other than that, my four horsemen are going to have their way with you. That's just how this works. This technology is absolute. We're in a mathematical construct. This is going to show you the testing sequence, and I've taken this a step further. So a lot of people, it's going to take some time to get used to the technology. Don't you worry. I teach you how to use it, and we step by step get you up and running. But there's more to this than that. So for example, in year 2026, I have the entire testing sequence already posted. In the description below this video, you can use the download link and you can have access to all of 2026 electromagnetics. And I'm just going to give you a brief description here, but you can see that we've got from February 14th all the way to February 25th, okay? And what this is showing is it's showing which plutonic solids, so which horsemen are going to be testing you and how much they're going to be testing you. So if you see the colors and it's really colorful, this means that the fourth horseman's coming this much during this sequence. Here's the third horseman. Here's the second horseman. Here's the first horseman. That's how that works. When we look up here at the blue, the purple, and the magenta, this is when agitation levels are going to go up. So you know when someone says, oh, it must be a full moon out there, people are acting a little crazy. I promise you, this software dictates the cycles of the sun and the cycles of the moon and every planetary alignment that happens. This is the mathematics that make consciousness possible and organizes every aspect of God's creation from the external to the internal. That's how this works. Now, what's going on up here is, and I just want you to see, so you can see in sequence one and sequence two, this is the collective combined agitation level is the magenta color, and the magenta is just added between the blue and the purple. Blue and the purple. Now, I want you to see when we get to February 22nd to February 25th. And I want you to see that there's a lot of purple and then there's quite a bit of blue. And when you add them together, this magenta is pretty prominent. Watch, like puppets on a string. That's what we are. When we don't understand this pattern, I promise you the news is going to get exciting during this time. In fact, I've got the entire year listed. You'll be able to go until the end of 2026 and you'll see every single time the collective populations are going to be pushed and prodded to react. And if you're a goat, what happens is you end up letting your biology take over, you lose your temper, you blame other people, and you be selfish. And if you're a true believer, what you do is you overcome those internal feelings, you turn the other cheek, and you unify. You don't separate no matter how hard it gets, you keep trying harder. That's how this works. There is nothing that we don't know. The testing structure's here. Now it's just, do you want to be a goat or do you want to be a sheep? Do you want to be saved and go to heaven, or do you not want to be saved and end up in hell? So this isn't really up for debate here. People aren't going to be able to avoid this. We've got a website designed to teach you how to use all this stuff. We give you all these resources, and people are going to want to start to understand this as soon as possible. Come to Health Reconnected, get yourself signed up, figure out how to get started and download this technology. That's the only way this is happening. You try to fly solo here and you don't go that way, it's only going to be difficult. And now you know every single time you hurt, every single time something doesn't go right, like you hit all the red lights, that's my horseman. You are in God's creation. Everything is controlled by God. You're just along for the ride. And if the ride is bumpy, it's because you're fighting. It's because you're not trying to do what it is you're supposed to do. And part of it is you didn't know, but you do now. And because you do know, remember the consequences are way more exaggerated now. And the more people that know, the more exaggerated the consequences will become for anybody who decides to just keep on doing it the way that doesn't work. I think I've made my point. Technology is here. Nobody's word is worth anything. The only thing we care about is you feeling better. And when you start to do this work, you're going to feel better. It's going to take years to master this. So don't be like, you know what, I'm just going to wait till I'm getting close to the end and then I'm going to make this conversion. That doesn't work. And that is also outlined in the Bible. Not a good strategy. Turn now, register now, let us help you. You can still have time to be saved. I can't make that any clearer. And my horsemen aren't going away. They're all here. So when you look at this technology, you go, oh, this is complicated. No, it's not. There's four things, and really there's eight things. The space clock is the first person perspectives. The time clock is the third person perspectives. And you see how they're divided into four quadrants of four color? Those are my four horsemen. Hey, hey, welcome to the party.